Thank you very much, and good morning everyone. I hope you're well. I'm just going to start with a thank you and an apology. A thank you to Kieran and the team for the invitation, and a thank you to many of you in the audience. The broadcasters that are here probably will have been part of Radio Player in Ireland for a number of years, so thank you for your ongoing support, because we can't do what we do without you. And I'm afraid an apology because I have no research charts at all in my presentation. I can see the disappointment and anger etched on your faces, but I'm going to try and navigate the next few minutes without those research charts to talk a bit about what we're doing to drive innovation around radio in the car, and to sort of give you some insight into the landscape and the way that automotive entertainment is changing. But just to start, I just want to introduce Radio Player quickly for those of you that maybe don't know who we are. I did have a gag at this point about the ridiculous size of that font, but given the size of the room, it's probably appropriate. But in case you can't read it, we put radio first. That is our priority. Radio Player is quite unique in this space because we are owned and supported only by radio broadcasters. So we always act strategically on their behalf. We were founded and built on a simple principle that the broadcast radio industry should collaborate on technology and continue to compete on content, and that is still true today in what we do. And our main aim, our purpose, is to keep radio strong in all connected devices, but we have, amongst that, the car is particularly important, and that's what I'm going to focus on, because it's really our primary aim today, and there's a good reason for that. So depending where you are, I think here in Ireland it's probably true that over a quarter of all listening to radio will take place in the car. It's a really important space for the industry. But it's also, to a certain extent, radio's superpower. The driver, the passengers are our superpower. It's a match made in heaven. People still get into their car, turn the radio on, listen to their favourite stations. And we know that radio is still today the number one for daily reach amongst all audio and entertainment services. We know that over 90% of people buying a car demand a radio to be there, and they want it to be prominent, easy to find and accessible. And of course for advertisers, it's almost the perfect medium with huge scale, really high engagement, driving real value. So we're in a really good place, but there are some fundamental changes taking place in the automotive industry, which mean that on behalf of the radio sector, we're working hard to try and make sure that radio can retain that position or even grow it in connected cars in the future. And there's a few here that I just want to run through. Firstly, new technology. I mentioned connected cars, so all new cars now will come with built-in internet connectivity. And that enables all sorts of things, new features that we can bring to bear, which I'll talk about later. There's also new software in the cars. Google have introduced something called Android Automotive, an operating system. This is the software that drives all the entertainment, all the features you see on your dashboard. And one of the things that does is it's enabled the dashboard to have its own app ecosystem. So you don't have to connect your smartphone anymore to download apps to the dashboard. You can download them directly from the dashboard. And that's a really interesting, when you start to think about that and what that means, it's quite interesting. There's also new competition. So those big tech companies like Google, maybe like Microsoft, like Amazon, have got their eyes on car dashboards as a space for growth. And there's a lot of competition there. We're also seeing a lot of competition with new market entrants in the automotive space. So you may see that here as well, but for example, lots of new Chinese car makers coming into Europe, looking at that for a space for growth. And these guys innovate really fast, and they're dragging the rest of the industry with them, which is a really interesting place to be. And then also, those app stores I talked about means that there's more competition on the dashboard now for drivers and passengers' attention. Radio's enjoyed a privileged place for a long time, but those new apps mean that there's things like video, gaming, other audio sources coming into the car. Now, having said all that, there are massive opportunities for radio that we can see, huge opportunities. So that new technology and the connectivity is allowing us to build new features for radio that mean that we can get more engagement with the user, with your content, do deeper dives into radio brands in the dashboard. And then the other thing that we can do now, which we've not been able to do before, is to start to collect real-time user data from the car about how people are listening. And this is how they might be listening to broadcast radio, FM, DAB, in real time. You know, where are they listening? Which platform are they listening on? How long are they spending with your station? And with user consent, we can also start collecting things like age, profile, likes, dislikes, passengers and drivers. So again, that can drive considerable growth, potentially in the advertising space as well. So it's a really exciting place to be. And one of the other changes which I just wanted to focus on is that radio now lives on a screen in the car. It's, you know, sound is not enough. Radio needs to look as good as it sounds. If anyone here has bought a new car, you're all, you know, very wealthy people, I'm sure. You bought brand new cars only yesterday. You'll know that they come with new high-definition screens. And radio needs to look great in that environment. Just to give you an example, this is the new, I'm going to try to get this right, this is the Mercedes-Benz GLC 400 MBUX Hyperscreen. And I wasn't going to say it like that, but I just felt like it deserved it. It's a 39-inch dashboard screen that spans the width of the car. And of course, if you've invested in this as a car maker, you want to fill that with great content that makes it look cool for your customers. And radio is not immune from that desire. And if we don't react to that and make sure that radio looks great, then we will lose the attention of the car makers. This is another example of that. This is the Hyundai holographic windshield, where they've actually taken away the dashboard screen completely and are projecting that onto the bottom of the windshield. Now, not all cars are going to look like this, but I'm just using it as an example because, you know, you may find that in your new car you've got more of an iPad-like screen or even a passenger screen, but that space is changing and radio needs to look fantastic as well. So, what do we need to do against this sort of backdrop? Well, we think there are a few areas that we really need to focus on. First of all, the design, the user experience, the user journeys that you can take with radio need to be great. And we need to retain the simplicity that radio has always had and enjoyed, that we know people like so much in the car. So the user experience is key. We need to leverage the technology that we're seeing in the car today to create those rich experiences. But I'm going to use a technical word here, the metadata, the information about radio stations and the content. We need that to be able to enable these new experiences. And that's really important that we get that from the broadcasters, because then we can create these new experiences. So I just wanted to quickly show you kind of the situation where we are today. So this is a quick video showing the radio experience in a BMW car. They're a partner of ours. We work with them. We've created this experience. And it's a kind of what we think the sort of base level experience should be today. We spent a huge amount of money on a celebrity presenter, and I hope they earn their corn, and let's see if it was worth it. But this is just an explainer. Hi, we're here with our partners BMW in central London, and I'm delighted to be able to show you the radio experience in a brand new BMW iX4 that is powered by radio power. Let's have a look. So the starting point when you get into the car will be this home screen. Everything is an app now. This is fully configurable by the user. Obviously we've placed radio in a prominent position here. Let's go into that. This is the core radio button experience. This is broadcast radio. When you go into this, the first thing to note and to explain is that this is a broadcast radio bringing in additional information about your station, what we call metadata, using the internet connection. So it's a hybrid radio. And it's using that data to dynamically update the data you see on the screen here. Now, the first thing that it enables is it enables BMW to create this really nice A to Z station list of all the available stations on DAB and FM in the location that you're in. To do that, they're using the broadcast identifiers from Radio Player, which enables them to identify whether a station is available on DAB or FM. And you can see from this list of stations, if a station is available on DAB, it will default to there first. If it's available on FM, it would then show that station on FM. All the metadata, the station logos, the station name,
As I said, the broadcast identifiers are all coming from radio player, and we think that really brings the experience to life. Now, the other thing that is really important about the metadata that we provide is, for example, the now playing data. So this is the information like, for example, track and artist now playing data, which is really important, we think, to bring the experience to life, but also important for our partners. And again, if you just flick around, you can see here the heart, we're getting this. This is the script with Hall of Fame, and it just gives more information to the user about what they're listening to. The other part of now playing data is that we can also provide a set of fully licensed artist images to our partners in this space. So if you go on to pick a station, if you go onto a station like Radio X Classic Rock, here's a good example. They're now playing With or Without You by U2. You can see here there is an artist image provided by Radio Player, which has immediately come up. If there is an image provided by the broadcast themselves, we'll show that. But if not, the image comes from Radio Player. You could see the song has changed, the track and artist has changed, and the artist image has been updated, all coming from Radio Player, from our broadcasters. We think this is a really great enhanced broadcast experience driven by hybrid radio and powered by Radio Player. Now, we want to keep on building on this and developing it with our partners at BMW, but I'm really pleased to be able to show it to you today.
Yeah, worth every penny, but that gives you, I hope that gives you an idea of what we think the very base level experience should be. When you look at that and compare it to your smartphone, it doesn't look like rocket science, but actually if you get in most cars on the road today, it will be nothing like that. The radio could be really difficult to use. You're not going to have all those logos. You're not going to have artist images or now playing information. So, and what goes on behind the scenes to create that in the context of the car can be quite complex, but obviously we hide that from the user. So if you look at that and you think, well, okay, well, how is radio doing in connected cars now? Well, actually, what we see is, and this is from some research that was done a year or two ago, that actually we're seeing increased radio usage. So radio is either maintaining the listening it's got or even slightly growing that. And we think that could be because of experiences like that we're starting to create that just makes it a bit more richer than just selecting a frequency and pressing go. And we want to keep building on that. So from a radio player perspective, we're sort of focusing in three areas which are really important. The first one is to try and meet the driver's expectations. That's around prominence, being able to find the radio easily and get into it very quickly. And as an organisation, when we work with a car company, we actually require a certain level of prominence for radio before we work with them. It's part of the partnership criteria, and I don't think anyone else in this space does that. So ideally, we want radio to stay where it is on the home screen and be always visible, so it's always easy to get to. And we want it to continue to be simple and easy to use. So the experience that we're used to today, to press the button, list your favourites, listen to your favourite station quickly and easily, we don't want to lose that. But we want to create more features that allow a deeper dive and engagement with the content. We also know that the car companies, they work on a global scale, at the very least regional from a European perspective. So they're looking for one trusted partner that can work and be the voice of the radio industry collectively. And that's where we come in. And the fact that we have organisations and people on the ground in each of the key markets, such as here in Ireland, is a huge benefit for the car makers, and it makes us a trusted partner. And then we want to leverage that tech, the capabilities of the new technology coming in the car. I know we're playing AI bingo today, so we do use AI for personalised recommendations as well. It's a feature that we offer. But that's really important. That level of innovation is important to our partners and important for radio. And we've had some success because we're currently working today with 17 car maker partners. You can see them there. And with each of these guys, again, we've required that radio, that broadcast radio experience where all the listening still happens, is as prominent as it can be, guaranteeing a kind of premium native experience for radio. And there'll be more announcements with the car makers to come. But it's this kind of work on behalf of the industry that's so important. I just wanted to finish just by talking a bit about, just giving a flavour of some of the new features we're working on. So one of the things we've developed is our own hybrid radios. So everything's becoming an app in the car. Hybrid radio, as I said before, is broadcast radio working with the internet. You listen to FM or DAB from the FM or DAB signal, but you bring in additional functionality and features over the internet. We've developed our own sort of demo app called Radio Player in Car that allows us to prototype new features, showcase what we can do and things like that. I just wanted to show you a few things in that, just to give you an idea of what we're working on. So what you're looking at here is this is just our own user interface. We've just built this. It's on automotive grade hardware and software. It's using Google's Android automotive software. First thing I want to show you is just that download button at the bottom. So one of the things that we've developed is, I mentioned earlier that anyone can build an app now and it can be downloaded direct to the dashboard. And there are many broadcasters building their own automotive apps. And one of the things we can show here is if you're listening to that station, we could just show, if the app's already downloaded, the icon of that app, or if it's not downloaded yet, the ability to download it would be there. The second thing is that More button. So we think this is a really interesting feature. So if you're listening to a station, you're enjoying the show, the content, the presenter, the song, if you press that More button, if we've got the right metadata from the broadcasters, the right content, we can take them to relevant podcast or on-demand content to that show, catch-up shows, for example, or even sister stations from the same group. And that could be shown natively in the app, or you could go to the broadcaster's own application. And then finally, you see this sort of timeline bar along the bottom, and those icons show where the show that you're listening to started, or even where the previous show started. And so to give you an example, if you were to press on that icon, you'd be able to restart the previous show, or the show you're listening to. So if you missed a bit, or you heard there was an interview earlier on, you could go back and play it immediately. So these are the sort of things we're playing with, and we think these give a much deeper dive into the available content from the broadcasters and hopefully drive value as well. And just to finish, final slide, just to talk about value, we really think there's huge commercial upside and potential for radio in connected cars. So in 3 areas, if you look at the features I just talked about, that's providing access to more content and hopefully deepening the time spent with different brands and engagement, and we know that's going to drive more value. The prominence that I talked about, requiring that prominence, gives radio, we hope, will continue to give radio a premium presence in the car. And that will, in turn, give radio the attention, the high attention that we know it deserves and needs. And then finally, we have built at Radio Player our own data and insights platform. And in the future, what you'll be able to see is, again, some of that real-time listening I talked about, where you'll be able to see how people are listening on broadcast radio in the car, time spent, and again, with the right agreements with the car makers and consent, more granular detail like the users, the age, the profile, their preferences, and we know that can drive new commercial value for advertisers. So huge commercial upside and potential. So that's it. It's a quick tour around, I hope that was interesting, about what's going on radio in car and what we're doing to keep it strong in connected cars. Really believe that radio is leading the digital shift in the car, and I know that Radio Player is at the forefront of that, working on your behalf, so thank you very much.